Imagine living in a place where security, luxury, and community come together. That's the reality of guard-gated communities in Henderson. Here's some reasons you might love them. Enhanced security and privacy. How does a guard-gated community work? Well, a guard-gated community has a fence or some type of brick wall containing the community, and some communities have a couple of guard gate stations, some only have one. But this guard gate station is going to verify if people can be allowed in or out. So if you pull up to a guard gated community in Henderson because you feel like looking around and checking it out, they're not going to let you in. That might be frustrating, you might be annoyed, but it's for the security and protection of the community. Now let's say you have been invited by someone who lives in a guard-gated neighborhood. You pull up to the guard gate, they're gonna ask you what address are you going to and what's your name. They're gonna also ask you for a ID or some kind of verification of who you are. You're then gonna hand over your ID, let them know what address you're going to. They're gonna look you up on the list, see if the owner or designated person has added your name to that list. If not, then they're gonna call that person and see if they know you're coming and get that verification that way. Now, this can be frustrating for some people. They're like, I don't want my guests to have to deal with this. They have many systems in place. I use a system here in McDonald Highlands called Quick Pass. I can put my guest names in there from an app. It's very easy. They then get a pass, which is a QR code, and they can come into my community without all that hassle. Now, if you live in the community, you have some kind of fob. Sometimes they put it in your headlight system. They have sometimes stickers. There's different types of ways, but there is oftentimes a guest gate and then an owner's gate. And then that gate is gonna make it really easy for you to just scan in, fob in, and get into the community. So why would you want to live in a guard-gated community? Well, a lot of people like it for many reasons, but one being security. Having that person standing there and verifying every single person that comes in. There's cameras throughout the guard gate station, which look at your license plate, they look at your car, they can sometimes even see your face, and they also would see it on the other side as you're leaving. So this provides an extra sense of security. There's also oftentimes a huge gate. So you couldn't just drive by the guard. You would have to go through the guard, get the pass, and then they would push a button and then that gate would open. So it prevents people from just barging through and entering a neighborhood unannounced. Let's take a poll on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being extremely important, 1 being you wouldn't care at all. How important is it to you to live in a guard-gated neighborhood? Comment below and let me know. Community amenities and lifestyle. Like I mentioned, guard-gated neighborhoods have a sense of community because you are within the walls or the fence of the community. Beyond the security measures at the guard gate, many people like guard-gated neighborhoods because they offer more amenities. Oftentimes the amenities include clubhouses, they involve parks and recreational facilities. Some even have country clubs. While they're a separate fee, they're within the walls, which is kind of nice, and you can see the gorgeous golf course views. You can join the club and be a part of that community even closer niche way. It's just a great thing to do. South Shore Country Club, Anthem Country Club, and McDonald's Highlands have country clubs within the community. Now, they also offer other amenities for the residents behind the guard gate, but it's nice to know that you can join that country club, separate initiation fees, separate fees and dues, but it really does create a sense of community within the community. Some other guard-gated neighborhoods in Henderson include Roma Hills, The Fountains, Grand Legacy, which also has a golf course. You also have Askaya with a gorgeous clubhouse. If you haven't seen my video on Askaya, you definitely have to check it out. I do a whole community overview where you can see behind the gates and really see what's going on in there. You also have Madera Canyon, which is one of my favorite neighborhoods. Madera Canyon has an incredible clubhouse. For a small HOA due, you get access to that clubhouse. And within that clubhouse, they have tennis courts, they have gorgeous strip views from their park, they have a fitness center, which is huge. They also have a recreational center, and it's just a really nice clubhouse, and all that's included within your HOA dues. Another thing to note is many of these guard-gated communities have activities and social events. Because you're behind a gate, again, sense of security, but also sense of community. They have engaging events for all the new residents that are coming through, and they really like to create a sense of neighborhood. If we haven't met yet, my name is Courtney Bentley, and I'm a luxury real estate agent here in Las Vegas and Henderson. I offer a concierge service to take the headache out of moving to my favorite city. Now let's move on. Property value and prestige. Guard gated sales have increased in value over 29% in the last year. We're talking 2023, even though we're in 2024 now, we're just in February. Across the entire valley in 2023, there were over 827 sales behind the guard gates. In 2022, there was 890 sales. 2023 was a slower year for us here in Las Vegas in terms of real estate. One thing to note as these guard-gated neighborhoods, because there aren't so many, are often more desirable. In Henderson, we have Quail Ridge Estates, which have gorgeous, huge lots if you're looking for a huge yard. The Fountains also has homes, they're all custom with gorgeous large lots. You have Grand Legacy, you have Roma Hills, you have Askaya, McDonald Highlands, Seven Hills has guard-gated neighborhoods throughout. We also have South Shore Country Club, and then the newest, we have North Shore coming to Lake Las Vegas. That will also be guard-gated. Behind those gates, you have Toll Brothers and Blue Heron Homes. Another thing to note is people love to walk around these communities, and if you have a guard gate blocking people just driving around, you do feel extra sense of safety. I often walk my dogs around the hills, and I really just enjoy getting outside and getting some fresh air, getting grounded. And I really like knowing that it's not just a busy street with a bunch of people driving through, that there is some kind of blockage and people aren't just driving around the neighborhood because they're bored on a Saturday. And I also like it for open houses. A lot of times real estate agents do open houses. I like knowing that that guard gate is checking ID, making sure people are going to the correct address to visit the open house, and not just coming into a community and driving around and checking things out. So that also makes me feel a sense of security and some of my experience in living in a guard-gated neighborhood. Year after year, we're seeing about a 4% increase in property values. Now that has changed significantly since COVID, but typically we're seeing about a 6 to 7% increase when they're behind the guard gates. Do you think the benefits of living in a guard-gated community justify the higher costs associated with that, between HOA dues and a higher price per square foot? Let me know in the comments below. Tranquility and exclusivity. Oftentimes when I talk to people and they live behind a guard gate, they often say, oh, I live in such and such community. And it does have prestige and it does hold value within the community. Another thing to note is when you're behind a guard gate, there's HOA dues associated with that. And within those dues, they do use those fees to create a community of tranquility. You're gonna see landscaping throughout the community. You're gonna see parks. Some of these, like I mentioned, have clubhouses they have to maintain. They just create a community that really demands a higher price because when you go behind the gates, you know you're within those walls. Certain communities like McDonald Highlands have really risen in the last 5 years. We've seen projects like the Four Seasons come to play within McDonald Highlands gates. We've seen Blue Heron do a ton of development projects in here. One of the highest priced homes ever sold in Las Vegas is behind the McDonald Highlands guard gates. You also see the sense of people coming here and wanting to spend that top dollar amount to live within these gates. Another note is the new guard gated community North Shore within Lake Las Vegas. Those homes are requesting a premium because it's very exciting to have this new exclusive community within Lake Las Vegas, another master plan community within Henderson. Oftentimes behind the guard gates, you have custom homes. Sometimes you have a mix of tract homes and custom homes, but the prestige of living behind the gates is something that many people value within Henderson. Like I shared, my experience living behind a guard gate is one of value. I love being able to walk my dogs. I love driving through the gates and just experiencing that tranquil sense. And I love seeing the beautiful bushes and the palm trees and the desert scape. It's just really special when you go into the gates. And I also notice when my friends come behind the gates to visit us, they always say, wow, the entrance of the gate is just so spectacular and beautiful. I also like knowing who's coming in and out of my neighborhood. I love getting that phone call from the guard gate saying so-and-so's here in case they're early, or I forgot to send them a pass, this happens. But I just really enjoy that. And we also here in McDonald Highlands have Yappy Hour where all the residents can go to the dog park and bring their dogs and they have drinks and it's just so fun. So having that sense of community is very important to me. And I also love having that sense of security when I go out of town. It's just overall something I really enjoy, and I don't know, there is some kind of prestige with it, but it's something I just like to bring my clients to see and understand. For more videos about Henderson and relocation tips, check out the videos above. If you're watching this on your TV, be sure to scan your QR code right here to subscribe and never miss a video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.